Hi, I'm Michael, and I'm the host of the Triangle App Show, and this is our very first episode. We use an app called Reflections to capture the screen of an iPad or an iPhone, and we're looking for similar technology for capturing the screen of an Android or a Windows mobile phone app. So we're about to show you our very first app, and it's an app called Downcast, which is a podcatcher from a local app developer in the Research Triangle Park area. It's pretty popular, and I really like it and use it myself. So here we go. So here we go. This is the Downcast app. You can see the icon with the D, and this is it on the iPhone. As you can see, it starts by showing you a list of the podcasts, and you can sort by played or unplayed and choose the podcasts you want to listen to. It, like any good app, will deal with rotation correctly. Next thing you want to do is you can subscribe to new podcasts by clicking Add Podcasts and either search for a podcast or add them manually. And if you search for a podcast, it will go through lots of different streams, including the iTunes feed, to find that podcast. Once you've found it, you can click on the subscribe button and it will be subscribed to your feed, and you can now stream it or have it download automatically whenever podcasts become available. And as you can see, the one that we just subscribed to has a new episode available and it is downloaded. The settings allow you to sync via iClouds the episodes, the podcasts, the playlists, and the settings themselves. So if you've got an iPhone and an iPad, you want to keep them in sync. Other settings including refresh, the ability to keep unplayed episodes, all episodes, or just a small number to save some space. When do you want to download? If you don't have the unlimited data plan, you may want to only download on Wi-Fi. And then things like continuous play, so it'll go through all the different feeds that you have and play them. One thing I find, I have a lot of podcasts that are fairly long, so I use the 2.5x speed as my default setting for audio and some video podcasts. And as you can see, lots and lots of settings here. And once you have a podcast down, you can look and see other episodes, download those. If you click on the little I, it'll get you any text associated with that podcast. And pretty full-featured. Now, here's a video podcast. If we click on it, the first thing you're going to notice is it's going to immediately rotate and fill the screen. And that's a setting. And you can also speed up and slow down, and if you click and hold, you can choose the speed. Otherwise, every time you touch, it'll rotate through the next setting. Also, at the top of the screen, you see the ability to go forward or backwards a certain amount of time. For video podcasts, you can choose to only play the audio, which is helpful if you have a long commute and you want to listen to some while you're driving. You probably don't want to be watching a video podcast while you're driving.
Today's episode of the Totally Rad Show was brought to you.
And as we've been going through this demo, you see some new podcasts have shown up in my feeds, and it is downloading those. If you tap them, it'll pause. Tap them again, it'll unpause. So if you have one that you really want to download so you can listen to it or watch it before others, you can manage that too. You can also click on them and have them stream, and as you can see here, it's preparing. So now it's pulling down information to start a stream of this podcast, even though it has yet to download it. So overall, very, very powerful iPhone app. And we're about to go over and show you the iPad version. So here's my my personal iPad. We're going to go in, and we're going to go into my media folder, and same feeds are here. You can pull down on the left-hand side, and it'll cause it to do a refresh of your feeds. And I currently don't have these two synced up, but I could go in and grab that podcast that I showed before and re-download an episode. So I can go in, choose the podcast, and say mark for download. As you can see now, it's preparing to play that, and here we go. The other nice thing is it's got social media integration, and we'll show you that you can tweet out or post to Facebook or send an email to somebody with a link to the podcast that you're listening to so that they can enjoy it too. And as you can see here, this one is streaming real time, and you can see that by the gray bar that's expanding. Now, the tool that we're using, Reflections, on an iPad, when you rotated the screen, you saw that it kind of squeezed it funny. So that's an artifact, not of Downcast app, but from the tool that we're using to record the screens. Lots of good help. The guys over at Jamawkinaw Enterprises have done a great job of putting a lot of information out there to make sure that you get the most out of your experience of using Downcast app. You can also set a sleep timer. So if you like to listen to podcasts as you fall asleep, it will do that. And here we go. We're going to tweet out that we were listening to the Games at Work podcast and showing off the Downcast app. And it uses the standard iOS built-in Twitter capabilities. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Triangle App Show, the video podcast where we talk to local app developers in the Research Triangle area. A hotbed, let me tell you, of application development for iOS, Android, WebOS, and Windows Phone 7. And if we find any RIM developers, we'll call them too. I'm here with Seth McFarland from, say it,
Jamawkinaw Enterprises.
Jamawkinaw Enterprises, excellent. And we're going to talk for our first app about an app that you've developed called Downcast. But first, let's talk a little bit about app development. What got you interested in app development?
Well, mainly what got me interested in app development was the specific need that I needed, which was the podcasting app. I was tired of syncing with iTunes to get my podcast. I'm an avid podcast listener. And so I went to the App Store, found an app that claimed to do what I needed, and I wasn't happy with it, and decided I'd make my own and make it the way I wanted to. I'm a computer programmer, and that's my day job, but I've never really written an app for a mobile platform before. But so I decided it's a good chance to learn and to make what I wanted, and if other people wanted to buy it, that was great too.
Very cool, very cool. So how long have you been writing on iOS?
iOS, it's actually just coming up on a year.
Cool.
So I started developing about last August.
Excellent. And you said you haven't written for any other platforms yet. Are you thinking about expanding your app to Android or RIM or something else?
Android is a consideration. Not really considered any kind of RIM development. But I've had some people ask me for Android version of Downcast. And it's something I would consider, but something that's kind of a roadblock. I'm kind of a sole developer here, and Downcast takes advantage of a lot of iOS toolkits, or it's very specific to the iOS platform. So it's not going to be something easy to port. It's going to have to be a separate write if I develop the same app.
A lot of native API calls.
Yeah, there are, which make developing a pleasure for iOS. And although I do think there's probably a need for some good podcasting apps, at least on the Android platform. There's the Google Listen app, but I don't think it's gotten much attention from Google.
How'd you get started other than, hey, I want to write an app?
Well, to be honest, I'm going to have to say there may be a good community of developers, but I haven't found them yet. And maybe I haven't been looking in the right places, but like you said before, we talked before the show, that when you hear about iOS developers or any kind of mobile, it always seems to be in those hotbeds, Silicon Valley and things like that. So I have not even run across another person in the area in person, at least, who's a mobile developer. But maybe I'm not in the right circles. Maybe I don't know the right people. So no person really got me into it. other than my enthusiasm for the platform itself. And again, I wanted to take the opportunity to make something that I wanted, which I hear all the time is the best way to develop software.
Thank you to Seth MacFarlane of Jamawkinaw Enterprises for the quick interview about how he got started doing iOS development here in the Research Triangle Park. And this has been the end of our first episode of the Triangle App Show. Thanks, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter or check out our blog.